on here as you start to create a container for yourself. Start to close down your eyes if it feels comfortable and start to notice your body. Notice any sensations. Notice how your breath is moving. Just start to allow the Monday morning that you've had start to fall away, so that you can check in with yourself. Personally, like neck rolls, wrist circles, putting both my feet on the ground, swaying side to side. Get started in about 60 seconds. Letting your body move organically. Part of coming into the somatic body is to just let yourself move without any restraint, right? Without worrying what you look like, starting to drop in. Maybe taking some deeper breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay. Noticing your hips in your chair. Again, just swaying side to side, noticing anything underneath your body. Because today, this first aspect of these teachings is all about the earth, all about the ground, okay? So, week one or pillar one is all about centering. And when we think about centering, we think about the need to move everything that's external, all of our energy that's outside of ourselves, and to start bringing it toward the center, to this center point, to ourselves, and back home, right? So, what does it feel like to be at home? I'm going to speak more on this. But week one, centering, all about home, all about the body's intelligence, all about earth energy, all about the core innate need of safety, root chakra, right? These are the things we're focusing on. And the capacity that we're working towards is regulation. And so we are going to start with an initial practice of moving our body, getting into this physical body with shaking. I'm going to add a link here of a song. You can use this song to start moving your body. Stand up. We're going to start by moving. You got 3.5 minutes. And something that I teach is how we start to get more comfortable in our physical body. So oftentimes when we feel ourselves being external, losing ourselves in other people, losing ourselves in the world, we have a hard time taking up space. So start bouncing, shaking, and focus on tapping your heels to the ground. As you tap your heels into the ground, start nice and slow, down, 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 down. Exhale as you drop your heels. You might start to make some noise. That's the other aspect of regulation. We need to make noise. We need to feel our body. You might notice yourself starting to feel discomfort, starting to feel uncomfortable taking up space with your voice or your body. You can start to speed up your heels dropping. You can start tapping on your chest or tapping at your root chakra point by your hips, at your low back. You might even start jumping or swaying or tapping your arms, opposite hand, opposite shoulder. Right, so why we do this, I teach a somatic sound healing class every week. And there's something really important about moving the body unrestricted, all right? Because why? Oftentimes we're living, again, outside of ourselves. And when we can start to shake off all this energy that we gain as humans, that is not ours, and we shake it off, we move without worrying what we look like. We reach up, we reach down, we twist, we jump, we sway, we constrict, we expand. And when we move in all these different directions, we can start dispersing the energy that's now ours and start to come back to a center point. Right? We need to come back to a center point in order for ourselves to feel safe. All right, so we're working with this inner child need of safety. Pretty soon here, we're going to get into some breath work. You'll come into a seated position. So start to make your movements a little bit smaller. Starting to move from that externalization, living outside of yourself, toward this center point. You'll completely stop your body here. Stop moving in 3, 2, and 1. And just allow yourself to stand. Feet on the ground. No moving, no shifting, no shaking, no twitching, no adjusting. Just breathe. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. 2 more. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Find a seated position on the ground or on a chair. And we're going to breathe. Using a little bit of sound, which we're going to tap into more next week. But I want you to stay with this breath. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Staying with it. Starting to take this breath in through the mouth, out through the mouth. You might just start feeling a little bit of activation in your body. Just 30 more seconds. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. Breathing into the belly, breathing into the side bodies, breathing into the heart space. Every single breath. Breathing yourself full, breathing yourself expanded. Because you deserve to take up space. You deserve to feel safe to take up space. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Deep breath in. Hold your breath at the top. Take a sip of air, a little bit more in. And then let it go. Again, just like that, deep breath in. Hold. And exhale. Last one, deep breath in. And exhale. We're going to do a short round here of alternate nostril breathing. Just with the sound of your voice. This breath allows us to clear out any energy that is not ours, any excess masculine energy of doing, of externalize, of producing, and any excess energy of the feminine side that is lacking, that is grasping, that is waiting, that is looking outside of the self for the permission to rest. So start by taking your right thumb to your right nostril and take your index finger and your middle finger to your third eye or in between your brows. Start by breathing in your left nostril. Plugging your left nostril, breathing out through the right. Breathe in through the right nostril. Plug your right, breathe out through the left. Plug the left, or breathe in through the left. Plug the left, breathe out through the right. Inhale through the right. Plug the right, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Plug the left, breathe out through the right. Inhale through the right. Plug the right, breathe out through the left. Doing this for about a minute longer on your own. Imagining that you're breathing in all the goodness from the earth. And cycling it through your body. Moving up each side of the body, moving it through your brain, through this mental space. Purifying it and then breathing it down the opposite side of the body. Just one more round, breathing up and down each side. And once you finish, finding a moment of stillness, taking your thumb and your pinky finger together. When you connect your thumb and your pinky finger, you're connecting to the Mercury planet and you're bringing in mental clarity. You're welcome here to stay in this meditative posture with your eyes closed as I begin to share a little bit more about this teaching around the fact that you're not lost. You're not lost, you've just left yourself, right? So you're welcome to stay pinky and thumb connected in this meditation posture. Or you're welcome to come back into your space, maybe grab a journal and begin making notes or reflecting. So oftentimes in our world, we hear this idea, I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like my life is falling apart. And this verbiage is heard. I hear it all the time. And when we use this kind of language, we are really saying, or at least it tells me, that I do not feel safe. This person does not feel safe, right? So when we think about the inner child, we think about the root chakra, right? The root chakra develops between the ages of 0 and 7. And we're building this capacity for how safe do I feel in my body, in my life, in my home, right? So if we look at first the physical home that you grew up in, that is a representation of the home that we build in our bodies. So pillar 1 of secure attachment, from all of the work that I've done with couples and individuals, is really about centering. And we cannot center ourselves if we do not feel safe in our body. So root chakra, safe, grounded, rooted, centered. We cannot have secure attachment. We will always be externalizing our safety and security if we do not feel physically safe. Oftentimes, this shows up as body dysmorphia. It shows up as disordered eating. It shows up as addiction. It shows up as needing partners. It shows up as needing money. It shows up as feeling like I will be happy when, I will feel safe when, I will feel secure when. So we often then feel lost until we find that thing that we've been aching for, that we've told ourselves, that we've created a story that I will feel safe and secure when. So ask yourself, when and what? What do I feel like I need in order to find safety and security? What is it for me? Was I taught that by my caregivers? Because this innate need of safety is foundational. It is the foundation, the root chakra, the foundation to our ability to have secure attachment within ourselves. And when I say secure attachment, a vital aspect to secure attachment is feeling so safe, so secure in ourselves that we do not actually need external things to feel safe and secure. They help, right? We're human beings. We have needs, we have desires, we have innate needs that need to be met. But this innate need comes from the body's intelligence. Okay. So when we ask ourselves, do I feel lost? Or when I say, maybe you've left yourself, there's a pattern of self abandonment that happens when a child is surrounded by caregivers or people that don't know themselves. So if you grew up in a home or around people that do not know themselves, you start to self-abandon to find safety, to find connection, to find belonging, and to find purpose. These are the main 4 aspects or innate needs of each pillar that we will be moving through in these next 4 weeks. If you did not have people around you that made you feel safe, you are going to self-abandon in order to try to find safety. You will always be maneuvering to find more safety and security because this root chakra is the main aspect that we need to build our home upon. And so in this first week of centering, we're working with regulation. So as we were shaking, as we were breathing, as we took this moment to meditate, it's a practice. It's a practice of coming back home here without needing to do, to produce, to achieve in order to feel safe to rest. So we are often in survival mode and therefore in a sympathetic nervous system state when we don't feel safe. And therefore we hyper lean into independence and we hyper lean into productivity in order to earn the ability, the permission to be in our feminine, to be in our parasympathetic rest and digest, or to even be in a receptive state. And so you are actually not lost. You've just been conditioned to externalize your safety. You have just been conditioned to leave yourself. You've just been conditioned to look for a partner to fill the void, a certain amount of money to fill the void, a certain title to fill the void. And all of these things, fill in the blank for what it is for you, to give you permission to rest, to give you permission to center, to give you permission to take space for yourself, to give you permission to feel safe in this body. And so we often are trying to force our safety and security. We're often trying to force figuring it out. And so a big part of not feeling safe becomes a flooding that happens into the brain. And if I look at our entire world, most of us live here. And it causes a disconnection between head and heart, because next week we're going to be talking about the heart. But when we don't feel safe, we end up living here. If you've ever heard, the brain is actually not the center of our intelligence, it's actually our gut. And so when we talk about real true safety, it comes from these lower three chakras, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. So centering our true gut brain, our real sensations of safety come from the gut. Our gut is actually full of nerves, nerve endings, and all of these nerve endings are sending signals to our brain of whether or not we feel safe. And so when we are living up in our heads in disconnection from a sense of safety, we end up having a lot of different health issues. The nervous system, therefore, is in such a state of survival that we can't connect to our heart. And when we can't connect to our heart, we feel lost. And so we're trying to force ourselves to find safety outside of ourselves. So when we are feeling insecure attachment being anxious tendencies, avoidant tendencies, or a combination of both, being disorganized, we are often fleeing into the brain, and that leads to fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses. And when we actually can find secure attachment, we're not in the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. We might have those tendencies. We might feel twinges of, oh, do I need something external? Do I need validation? Do I need reassurance? Do I need safety? Do I need security? Do I need more money? Do I need fill in the blank? And instead, there's an ability to pause when that mental loop starts happening and come back to, wait, that's an illusion. I actually just need to come back to myself. And so the real muscle that we're trying to build in centering ourselves is to be the observer of these anxious, avoidant, and disorganized tendencies to leave the self, to flood into the brain. And we're trying to come back to the heart and the gut. Like, what do I really believe? How can I really tune into the body's intelligence? And so week one being, how can I use my body's intelligence to let me make decisions? How can I use my body's signals to trust? How can I use my body's signals to walk forward in life? Your body does not lie. The body keeps the score. The body keeps the score. The body knows. The body holds all of this wisdom from all the experiences you've had. And therefore, when we haven't moved the old experiences through the body, I could go on a rampage on this, we loop in insecure patterns, because all of this dense, old, insecure trauma energy is stuck in the body. So no crap, we flood into the brain because our body doesn't feel safe if it's holding on to emotions that are 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. Right? We're holding on to so much in our world, and we're not only just holding on to our stuff, we're holding on to a lot that is probably placed on us by our parents, by multi-generations of experiences. And so we need to build this safety in the root chakra to create this flow of energy. And so these 4 weeks of this challenge is helping us build this circuit where we're feeling centered enough, we're feeling attuned enough, we're feeling connected enough to how we're relating, and we're really stepping into our embodiment. And when we do that, when all those 4 pillars are really truly tapped into, the energy of old energies gets to move through the body, and we get to start completing these loops that are repeating and repeating and repeating. Like you often might feel like I'm a record on repeat. I keep attracting the same partners. I keep attracting the same pattern. I keep feeling the same way. And that's because these old energies are free flowing through your body on repeat to try to move out. But you get to choose to create enough safety to let them move out. And a lot of that comes from not overriding your body's no and starting to listen to the body's intelligence of what makes you feel safe and secure. You create your environment. You are not victim to your environment. And so a big wound of this root chakra is being victim to life, saying, I don't have a choice. So if I could give you any suggestion here, it is, yes, you do have a choice. And if you are going to find secure attachment in yourself, if you're going to learn and master centering, you have to realize you have choice. Because the inner child cannot observe life if it doesn't feel safe. It's going to be in fight, flight, freeze, in survival mode. And therefore, if you're not integrated with your inner child, you can't observe yourself. You can't notice so that you can sit with your emotions, so that they can finish their loop, so that you can respond in a new way. Okay. And so it's a lot about reintegrating with these lost parts of ourselves that we've shut away, and I'm starting to call them back. So centering, it's about regulation. It's about connecting to the earth. It's about connecting to the ground underneath you. It's about listening to your body's intelligence. It's being in the body versus out of the body. It's potentially, therefore, limiting alcohol use, maybe even caffeine. It's about noticing your body's cues of hunger. It's about allowing yourself to treat intimacy with yourself or with others with true embodiment. It's about listening to your physical symptoms. Maybe I don't have the energy to work out today. Am I gonna push past that, or am I gonna listen? So listening to your body's yeses and nos, listening versus overthinking, noticing your feelings and expressing them versus shutting them down because you feel like you're going to be a burden or you're going to inconvenience somebody. It's about trusting your own decisions versus needing somebody else's approval, right? These are all different ways we lose ourselves in self-abandonment because we feel like we need approval, we need reassurance, we need to give versus receive, we need to shrink versus take up space, we need to overthink versus actually just listen and listen to that knowing. It's about not criticizing the self, instead just trusting the self. It's about staying present with your emotions versus rushing to move through the emotion as quick as possible. And it's about knowing that you're worthy enough to have somebody stay with you. And so what I'm going to offer as a practice is these 3 steps that I have already actually named. It is first, noticing. So write down these words: notice, stay, respond. You cannot move through life in a securely attached way if you're reacting to life. So you need to build enough safety and willingness to practice the pattern of noticing and observing. Because if I can notice my own emotions, if I can notice my body's cues, and if I can stay with them, I'm going to speak to staying with them, then I can respond differently versus repeating the same reaction and getting the same results. Therefore, attracting the same patterns and attracting the same external world, same financial situations, same kind of partners, same kind of dynamics, right? We have to stay with our emotions in order to allow them to move. Sometimes it only takes 90 seconds for an emotion to move. That's the teaching, right? That's the stat. And so I teach that we don't need to move from, okay, I'm feeling angry. How do I get into a meditative state so I don't express something uncomfortable? We need to meet our emotions with the intensity that they came with. And so I love that quote. We need to meet our emotions with the intensity that they came with. And so therefore, if you're feeling anger, you need to meet your anger with the intensity of the anger. If you're feeling grief, you need to meet your grief in the intensity of the grief, of the sadness. We can't override it. We need to stop overriding these patterns, and we have to start being willing enough, being courageous enough to meet ourselves in the intensity of what we're feeling. So notice, stay, and sit with what you're feeling, the depth of what you're feeling, and then respond. So the journal prompt I'm going to leave you with today is, where in my life am I most likely to leave myself? Where in my life am I most likely to leave myself? I dropped it in the chat. Where in my life am I most likely to leave myself? Where in my life do I feel unable to sit with a certain emotion? What emotion am I unable to sit with? I feel so uncomfortable sitting with the emotion of grief. I feel so uncomfortable sitting with the emotion of happiness. I feel so uncomfortable sitting with the emotion of abundance. I feel so uncomfortable sitting with the emotion of anger. I feel so uncomfortable sitting with the emotion of, what is it for you that feels really hard to sit with? And where are you most likely to leave yourself? When somebody else is sad, when somebody else might reject you, when you feel fear of abandonment, when you are approached with intimacy, maybe you leave yourself. Maybe you run away. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to feel safe in your body. And so secure attachment is a practice of not leaving. It's not abandoning your needs in order to meet somebody else's. And so we often think we need to find ourselves or fix ourselves or figure ourselves out up here. But sometimes the problem isn't that you've lost yourself, but more that you've learned to leave yourself in order to find safety, in order to find connection, in order to find acceptance, in order to feel in control. Right? So the safety, the root chakra wants to feel in control. So where are you trying to find control? Because that is a huge aspect to centering. Huge aspect to finding secure attachment is finding that base where you feel enough trust that you don't have to have control. You don't have to know. You don't have to know. It's okay to not know. So thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for practicing centering just briefly. Thank you for reflecting on these themes today. And this is just the smallest slice of this work, right? This is just the smallest little preview of what it means to step into this first pillar of secure attachment, of the innate need of safety, the root chakra safety, the body's intelligence, the ability to tap into the somatics, the ability to feel safe in the body, the ability to regulate. And so in the Secure Self group that I am starting on September 30th, it's an 8-week group. We're going to dive much deeper into each of these pillars. And so if that interests you, I would love to have you explore the offering, the group. It's going to be an amazing co-ed group. I'm dropping the link here. And it's a way for you to step into a deeper work container where you get 8 weekly calls with me and the group. And along with that, you get a 90-minute deep dive session with me and 2 30-minute sessions. So it's a much more cost-effective way to do a therapeutic or coaching work around attachment, but allow you to really heal alongside other people. So thank you for tapping into call number 1 about not leaving yourself. Notice where you self-abandon. Notice how you can start noticing, observing, and creating an environment for yourself physically and in this physical body where you start feeling safe. Start noticing who's not making your body feel safe. Who do you have a no around? What patterns do you keep repeating that actually make you feel no in your body? Your body's screaming, knocking, no, 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 no. Start listening to that. I'll see you on Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, and sending you lots of love. Happy Monday.